Mr. Speaker, as Mary Agnes Welsh pointed out in Saturday's Free Press, when budgeting, the NDP government has a choice: to invest adequately in childcare and early childhood education as foundational human infrastructure for the future of our province, or to pay heavily down the road. As brought up at a September 18th meeting of the Child Care Coalition of Manitoba, childcare access in Manitoba right now is in crisis. There is a very large shortfall in childcare and early childhood education spaces.
Huge.
Today, on Universal Children's Day, I asked the Premier, why has he failed to ensure an adequate number of childcare and early childhood education spaces in Manitoba?
I thank the member for the question, because it allows us to put on the record the very significant investments we've made in childcare. We have tripled the budget since our time in office. We have doubled the number of spaces at the same time as the Conservatives withdrew all their funding for it at the federal level and cut the program. The provinces were left on their own to provide childcare, early learning opportunities to working families in Manitoba. We have one of the best systems in Canada, Mr. Speaker. Wages have gone up over 56%, and for the first time in the history of Manitoba, the people that work in childcare have a pension plan. That's what we're doing for childcare, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, there are more than 11,000 children waiting today for space in childcare or early childhood education. The government hasn't done its job.
Nothing.
Indeed, this NDP government continues to develop new ways to squeeze Manitoba's middle class and other families. Parents who can't work because of a lack of access to childcare and early childhood education means a loss of economic productivity, a loss of jobs in our province. The NDP provided only minimal additional funding in the 2012 and 2013 budgets, barely a drop in the ocean of what's actually needed.
Get them some more stuff,
Instead of
Gary.
the same pittance and piecemeal approach from this government, I asked the Premier, what is their real plan to ensure the basic human infrastructure for children and families is there in our province?
Like any other province in Canada, we actually have a prenatal benefit program for young expectant mothers in this province. And immediately upon them entering into parenthood, they get support. They get home visits, they get support from nurses, they get support from people that help them get involved in programs, preschool programs, family resource centers, which we fund. That when you get to the child care area and they want to enter the workforce, we've tripled the budget for that. We've more than doubled the number of spaces for that. We've increased wages and training. We've changed the curriculum in child care centers to a learning curriculum to prepare young people to be ready for school so that they can have success in school. And when we get to school, we've reduced class sizes in the K-3 areas. Just this morning, Mr. Speaker, I announced a new school in the Riverbend area of Manitoba, Riverbend, north end of Winnipeg. It will have 64 daycare spots, 500 more places for students. It will be built in Winnipeg in an area where there's a growing population. The leader of the Liberal Party, or the ex-leader of the Liberal Party, has voted against every major investment we've made in childcare, and he has joined hands with the Conservatives that withdrew the program.
Order, please. The First Minister's time has expired.
Mr. Speaker, you know, the NDP government is talking about $5.5 billion in physical core infrastructure. That's over 1,000 times greater than what they added this year to the basic human infrastructure for childcare and early childhood education. What we need is not some tinkering. What we need is a major new investment, sufficient funding. Will the government continue to fail Manitobans, or will we finally see this coming year a major additional one-year investment of $40 to $50 million in child care and early childhood education, as Liberals have been calling for?
Mr. Speaker, we've added 12,000 additional spaces into our childcare system. There are now more than 28,000 childcare spaces in Manitoba. And you know what, Mr. Speaker? The population in Manitoba is growing. The population is getting younger. We have a dynamic and robust economy, and more people want to work and live in Manitoba, which is why we are going to enter into a new program of childcare expansion in Manitoba. 54% increase in wages, first ever pension program program, 12,000 more spaces. Every new school has a child care center built in it, and we are investing like you've never seen before in child care in Manitoba. I invite the ex-leader of the Liberal Party to stand up and actually vote for a budget that increases child care in Manitoba and doesn't do what the Tories do, which is vote against it every single time.